सद्गुरु ओंकारा ओम।
जय गुरु ओंकारा जय जय 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 सद्गुरु ओंकारा ओम।
गुरुपद रंजन राम जय जय।
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 बंध विमोचन राजीव लोचन।
बंध विमोचन राजीव लोचन।
बंध विमोचन राजीव लोचन।
बंध विमोचन राजीव लोचन।
अभय कराम्बुज राम जय जय।
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 गुरुपद रंजन राम जय जय।
गुरुपद रंजन राम जय जय।
बंध विमोचन राजीव लोचन।
बंध विमोचन राजीव लोचन।
अभय कराम्बुज राम जय जय।
अभय कराम्बुज राम जय जय।
गुरुपद रंजन राम जय जय।
गुरुपद रंजन राम जय जय।
जय जय राम सीताराम।
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 जय जय राम सीताराम। Shankara Sadashiva Chandrasekhara
Shankara Sadashiva Chandrasekhara
Shankara Sadashiva Chandrasekhara
Shankara Sadashiva Chandrasekhara
Chandrasekhara Gauri Shankara
Chandrasekhara Gauri Shankara
Chandrasekhara Gauri Shankara
Chandrasekhara Gauri Shankara
Shankara Sadashiva Chandrasekhara
Shankara Sadashiva Chandrasekhara
Chandrasekhara Gauri Shankara
Chandrasekhara Gauri Shankara
Neelakantha Shuladhari Chandrasekhara
Neelakantha Shuladhari Chandrasekhara
Neelakantha Shuladhari Chandrasekhara
Neelakantha Shuladhari Chandrasekhara
Bhalanetra Tripurari Gauri Shankara
Bhalanetra Tripurari Gauri Shankara
Bhalanetra Tripurari Gauri Shankara
Bhalanetra Tripurari Gauri Shankara
Om.
Sadashiva
So this is mainly an announcement for the next gen. Others can listen also, but just so you know.
Chandrasekhara
We will take a picture, if Swamiji agrees, with Swamiji afterwards. Only this group. We'll take a picture with Swamiji right afterwards. Yeah? So be ready to move quickly onto stage. Tomorrow we'll have an opportunity to do Guru Dakshina. So I have envelopes with me. We'll pass them out afterwards. The idea is that the teachings that we're given are priceless. And so this is an opportunity to express our gratitude through whatever we can give, right? We were being taught to be a contributor. Swamiji, his whole life is contribution. And so how do we repay him? There's nothing to do. We can't repay him. But we give a token. We give as much as we can as an offering to Swamiji. So we'll have that opportunity tomorrow. Feel free to add a note for Swamiji as well. Yeah? Okay. So we'll have Dakshina tomorrow. So I'll give you envelopes today. So you can also write a note to Swamiji. That might be a nice addition. If anyone's leaving before lunch or before lunchtime, please let me know as well. I know the camp is ending, but some of you have never gone to the office and registered and paid. So I have to be that guy to tell you to go to the office and pay for the camp that you've received already. But it's not for the teachings, it's just for the accommodation, right? It costs a lot to feed all of us. So that's minimum. That's what we need to do, yeah? We'll talk about next steps tomorrow. Study doesn't end in one weekend, so we'll talk about next steps and more study after this. Yeah. We asked you all to be technology free, so you don't have this, but in the WhatsApp, we put a survey. So if you go home tonight, you can fill out the survey about your experience at camp, just so we can improve the experience of the next gen and make the camps better going forward. So please, we will find you if you do not fill out the survey. We literally know where you live. Anything else? So tomorrow morning, our group only, we'll have meditation and yoga in the morning at 7 o'clock in the yoga studio. Okay? Swamiji will still take meditation here, but our group will be separately in the yoga studio tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. 7 o'clock, sorry, 7 o'clock. So please come on time. We'll start meditation on time there, so come a few minutes early. Okay? Any other thoughts, questions? Yeah. So there's a Ganapati Homa earlier, and then at 5:45 there's Dakshinamurti Abhishekam in the temple. Yeah. Is that clear? Akra. Yeah. I am everywhere. Yeah. Swami Viditatmananda ji's class will be at 9. Swami Muktatmananda ji's class will be at 11. So same tomorrow. Can anyone sing? Will someone be brave enough to sing? That's okay.
Yeah, you can sing, right?
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya.
Om.
From here in. I'll sing one pad from Vinay Patrika, 2-3 lines, until Swamiji will come. I'll stop at any time. Okay. तू दयाल दीन हो, तू दानी हो भिखारी, हूँ प्रसिद्ध पात की, तू पाप पुंज हारी.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavai तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. How does one differentiate between being complacent and being content? It seems it may be easy to mistake the former for the latter. It's a good question. Being complacent versus being content. I think the feeling that you have within yourself will be quite different. When you're content, you're happy. Happy with yourself, that is what contentment is. Complacent means that you are perhaps trying to avoid something, trying to hesitate making a decision. I think this being complacent and being content would be quite different as far as the state of mind is concerned. And content, you're happy when you are content. When you're complacent, you would be uncomfortable, not happy. I think that you would know the difference between the two. In one case, you are trying to avoid something. Other case, you're happy and with what you are. But it's a good question though, being complacent and being content. Being complacent means there is an awareness of something that needs to be done, I guess, at least in the background. There would be an awareness of something that needs to be done, and perhaps an awareness of how I'm trying to avoid it, if not very openly, but at least there'll be a sense that I'm avoiding something, I'm avoiding confronting something. The contentment, the kind of happiness that contentment gives you, being complacent will not give you, because being complacent, you can't be totally comfortable. At the back of the mind there is an awareness that I'm trying to confront, I'm avoiding confronting something, I'm avoiding doing something. That sense would be there when the mind is complacent. Does it make sense? I'm trying to make sense myself, but anyway, so. Swami, dharma seems like it can be complex, or discerning dharmic action. We need a judgmental mind for this, is that right? So how does renunciation and following subjective action interact with following dharma? Dharma seems like it can be complex, or discerning dharmic action can be challenging. It is true that determining what dharma is in a given situation does become challenging, and more you discern dharma, more challenging you find it to be to determine what is right and what is wrong, what is truth and what is not truth under these conditions. More we dwell upon that, more subtle the differences become, and more challenging it becomes, but at the same time, it trains our mind also to become more and more subtle and more discerning. Any situation will in fact require us, any choice that you have to make will require us to become subtle. And particularly dharma can be very challenging. What is the truth under these conditions? What is the right thing to do? Or what is truth under these conditions? Mahatma Gandhi was wedded to Satyam, had a lot of struggle very often in deciding what is according to what is Satyam, what is Dharma. I think it was a matter of his son who was extremely sick, and for whatever reason he had decided that he will not take any medication. He will only use the what shall we say, the natural or Ayurvedic at the most, natural, yeah. And his son became so sick, his temperature was rising, and to call the doctor, give him medication or not. He was so much stressed out. All he did was took a blanket, wetted it and wrapped around him and just left. Not being able to take the stress. And after wandering here and there, he came back after 1 hour. To his pleasant surprise, the fever was gone. Maybe that is because of his commitment to dharma and his whatever, but made it happen. So, making right choice very often becomes quite challenging. And that tests our mind also and requires it to be more and more discerning. We need a judgmental mind. Our mind, I don't know what you mean by judgmental mind, but mind has the capacity to judge anyway. Meaning that we have to judge in that given situation as to what is dharma, what is not dharma, what is right, what is not right. And that we have to do in every situation for that matter. So how does renunciation and following subjective action interact with following dharma? As I said, following dharma always involves renunciation. Inasmuch as you have to let go something to do what is right. What is convenient is easier and giving a short-term benefit, and we have to renounce that in favor of long-term benefit. So, renunciation is involved in choosing dharma. Is duty an obstacle in renunciation? How can I maintain a pleased state of mind with duties we have not chosen? Duty is very much an obstacle to renunciation. Meaning that as far as the Vedic tradition is concerned, renunciation is renouncing the duties. Duty means obligatory duties, what you are obliged to do. Therefore, becoming a renunciate is a formal way of renouncing duties. Not escaping from duties. Renouncing duties means now you have grown to a point where you don't need the duties. The duties are a need for us to grow. And when you find that the duties have done their job, in terms of giving you a certain emotional maturity, because being a renunciate is not easy. You can no more go to movies and restaurants and whatever. So fun activities and stuff like that. When you don't need those things, that is when it is the time to become a renunciate. Not that you cannot do after becoming a renunciate, but when you become free from the needs of those things. When you discover that self-contentment, And therefore freedom from the needs of general entertainment and, pleasure activities. You may have to put perhaps a break at some point, but otherwise, basically when you become free from the need of pleasure, external pleasure, that's a good time to become, otherwise you are renunciate. So I can't go to a restaurant now. And I want to eat pizza or something like that. That becomes a very, what shall I say, unpleasant or uncomfortable situation. It can happen to Swamis, but how do we practice detachment and renunciation without becoming a nihilist or thinking that nothing that happens in life matters? See, thinking that nothing matters is not a thought, meaning that you cannot will that nothing matters. That has to happen to you. You cannot will that now, I don't need anything. You discover freedom from need, you follow? And so, renunciation also has to happen in terms of the freedom from not all desires, but freedom from most desires, binding desires, let us say, for seeking pleasure and comfort and stuff like that. And that can happen when you have discovered a reasonable amount of self-sufficiency within yourself. I cannot remain a needy person and become a renunciate, because I will still need the means to fulfill my needs, and they may not go, may not be compatible. So you should be reasonably free from emotional needs, put it this way. A renunciate should ideally be emotionally stable person, not needing all the time to be patted on the back and And you can't will that. That has to happen. And so, let us put it this way in simple terms, that for being a renunciate, discovering or growing to a point of emotional maturity or freedom from emotional needs is very important. Other needs can even be satisfied. You can surround yourself by other things so that but as far as emotional things are concerned, there is no way that can be satisfied being a renunciate. You can go to Gurukulam and there are Guru and there are other things, support structure, and maybe to some extent you can, but ideally a renunciate is the person who has become essentially free from emotional needs. People come to ashram seeking a mother, seeking a father, seeking this support and that support, and not unusual. And if Guru is very generous, then he may accept everybody, okay, may I come. But our Guru was like that, very generous, but it is not it's not an ideal thing to go to an ashram or where supposedly no emotional support is available. Intellectual support may be there, spiritual support may be there, but you must be emotionally mature enough to become a renunciate. Mithya is full of physically determined laws. Why therefore can our actions, be they dharmic or dharmic, be attributed to biochemical deterministic phenomena? Wow. I don't understand, by the way. Biochemical deterministic, they're very technical stuff. More technical than Vedanta, Implying a lack of free will. So deterministic, meaning I guess the idea is that everything is determined anyway, so where is the free will? Is that the idea here? But then...
Yesterday, Swami Viditatmananda showed us an example of like a rose falling because of gravity. And he said that's one of the physical laws of the universe. And, we have a lot of chemical processes that are happening within our body that, we can attribute to our thoughts, because of certain neurons firing in our brains. So I'm curious, like, what is our expression of free will?
Well, you can ask me this question. The fact that you can ask me this question itself shows free will. That you have the freedom to think or freedom to act. Free will means the freedom to make a choice. So you made a choice to clarify a statement or ask a question. That shows free will. Now, you can complicate the matter by saying between free will and destiny, what is the dividing line, That I asked this question because of my previous, orientation. So, is destiny what decides free will, or free will decides destiny? There is no clear dividing line as to where free will ends and destiny begins, or vice versa. But we nevertheless accept something called free will. Had there been no free will, there would be no dharma, there would be no difference between animals and ourselves. The fact that we can have goals, the fact that we can follow, a certain course of action, the fact that we can make choices, we can't say it's all determined. Because in every situation you do have a choice. And that is why the guidelines are there. Dharma is the guideline to make choices. So, we cannot say that everything is determined in general, because otherwise there would be no free will, then there would be no difference between the animals and ourselves. And there would be no possibility of all the progress that humankind has made, which is because of the free will. That human being could sense, what is incomplete, what is needed, how can be improved, etc., etc. All this shows that we have something that animals don't have. And that's what we call free will. You mentioned Krishna saying to Arjuna, I have killed everyone you are about to kill. You can just take the credit. Does it indicate a lack of free will on Arjuna's part? Why take action in a universe that balances its own karma? In a way, Lord Krishna wanted to say that it is true that it is Ishvara who does everything. But this question has always remained whether an individual does something or Ishvara does something. Is it the free will or the destiny? Again, same thing. And the dividing line is not clear that way. In this particular case of Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna wanted to assure Arjuna that have no fear. Ma vyasishtaha maya hatam svam jahima vyasishtaha. Here Arjuna, they are already killed by me and therefore have no fear. And therefore you proceed with your duty without fear. Although this was an additional, assurance given to Arjuna, whether he needed it or not. Arjuna did not ask for this. Although at some point, Shankaracharya has to connect this with something. So Vashyakara connects it with the verse in the second chapter. That's age that is talking, I guess, or not talking. Nachat with Katara Garisha. What is it? Yadi va jayama, yadi va no jayayuhu. I do not know right now whether we will win or they will win. Yadi va jayama, yadi va no jayayuhu. Yadi va jayama, whether we will win. Yadi va no jayayuhu, they will win over us. Kataranno gari, I don't even know which is better. Arjuna expressed a doubt at that time. Whether we will win or they will win. Or that statement is interpreted, at least by Bhashyakara, is expressing a slight doubt on the part of Arjuna. And then as though Lord Krishna wanted to clarify, don't worry, you are going to win. So that is how the display of the cosmic form, which showed the victory of Pandavas. So Shankaracharya says that one of the purposes of showing that was to assure Arjuna that victory is certain for the Pandavas, because at that time earlier Arjuna expressed a certain doubt. Kataranno gariya yadva jayama yadivano jayayu yane hatvana. So I don't know which is better, whether we win over them or they win over us. So that this was to make, assure Arjuna that you are going to win. That is one of the explanations of why Lord Krishna showed the cosmic form. So that is not free will on part of Arjuna. This was specially done to assure Arjuna of the victory of Pandavas. Why take action in a universe that balances its own karma? What does it mean?
It was just another way of asking the same question. It's again about free will. But I think you've answered it.
All right.
Thank you.
Punya Swami always said, be a contributor, not a consumer. In a society and country where everything is consumption based and is sometimes force fed to us, how do we get out of that? I love contributing and giving back, but sometimes I feel as I must overconsume in order to get by. Do you have any tips for us to get out of that cycle? So I feel I must overconsume in order to get by, meaning I must overconsume in order to be accepted by peers. Is that what is meant by getting by? What
Yeah, I think I was just trying to say how society, just the way things work, we need to overconsume in order to live our daily lives, if that makes sense.
But why do you use the word overconsume?
I think it's, at least in my situation, I feel like it's being force-fed to me. Everything's targeted. So all these things like Amazon, buy this, get this. You need a new piece of clothing every day, things like that, or you need this item in order to do this task, but you don't really do that.
Yeah, but then we cannot become so vulnerable that we are manipulated by these marketing people, and that knowing that it's overconsumption, you still do that is not. I don't think that anybody expects you to do that. In case they do, we are not obliged to, obliged to conform to them. And you will follow your own values, and up to a certain extent you need the acceptance of peers and society, no doubt about that. But there has to be boundaries there also. That you have to have your own basic values, which you cannot compromise. And I think in course of time people will respect that. If they discover not by one action but by several actions that what you mean has a reason, there's a basis. And basis in what is the right thing to do, people will respect. Meaning then you won't always have to conform, to the idiosyncrasies of the society. So if I remember correctly, in lecture you said that doing what is right can give you self-encouragement and happiness. But if you do the right thing in order to feel good about yourself, better than others, are your actions dharmic? You are doing the right thing because you want to do right thing. Feeling good about yourself is a consequence of that. And if you are doing right, even for feeling good, that's all fine, as long as you are doing right. Then but if you do the right thing in order to feel good about yourself or better than others, then it is not doing right. It is making a show. You are doing right to feel good about yourself or in order to make other people, to earn respect of other people, etc. If doing right has an agenda other than doing right is then we will question what is the right in that, Doing something right for the sake of right, if there is other agenda, then you yourself know that some other agenda is guiding your action. It's not being right that is guiding your action, is earning the respect of others or some other kind of agenda. Then it's likely that the action may not be right. Because if it's right, then you yourself validate yourself. When you are right, you don't need validation by others. When you do what is right, then it's self-validating. When and still you may be in a very strong need of other people's approval and things like that. But you're doing it right not for other people's approval. If people approve what they want to approve, not whether you're doing right or wrong, And so seeking people's approval may be necessary. I don't say that it should not be there. But that should not be confused with right. It can be right. You're not doing right because you're seeking approval of people. You're seeking approval of people, which is one aspect. And doing right can be a different aspect. You can combine both of them. You are not doing right for seeking approval. People approve you not because you are doing right. They approve of you because, I don't know, they find something that you fulfill their expectation. People approve of you when you fulfill their expectation, which may be right or not right. Fulfilling the expect of other people is likely that you may have to compromise what is right. Because then there are two motivations. One is doing something right, and second is pleasing them. And they may not always coincide. So doing right, you should be assured that in course of time people will approve. People, if you are seeking approval of people, it should be on a solid basis, not just making a show, etc. So if you are doing right, if not right away in course of time, you will get approval of people. And means by doing right, you won't even need that much approval because you are approving yourself. The reason why we are seeking approval of other people is we don't approve of ourselves. When you do what is right consistently, then you find yourself approvable. You won't need the approval of others in course of time. How to find clarity when what is right is not obvious? In the example of the man, his wife and his mother, how is the man to know what is right? I will not only imagine that, that situation. All I can say is that be compassionate to both your mother as well as to your wife. And that will help you to understand them, where they're coming from, what their basic need is. Basic need may be camouflaged in terms of demand and stuff like that. Basic need may be just patting on the back, just approval, attention and stuff like that. So if you are understanding, compassionate, you may understand what's the basic need. Why is a person doing what they are doing? He is just demanding attention, maybe. You're too busy with your wife and therefore mother doesn't get attention. Or mother is very demanding and always draws your attention and you don't have enough. Or you're afraid, whatever, I don't know. But so be compassionate to both and you'll understand them both. And I'm sure with understanding you'll find the way to balance the two, I think. I think that should work. I haven't tried that. Information processing intergenerationally changes our lens on the world and the roles in the harmony. Information processing intergenerationally changes our lens. May understand this better,
Thank you. Yeah, so I was just trying to understand more so, in your own perspective, you've seen so many changes in the landscapes of reality from TV to internet. How has that changed your philosophy or the perspective of Dharma and the different roles that people have in society and fulfilling the Dharma, the hubs and spokes of society, so to speak, that keeps the wheel turning? So I think the next part of that question is like,
GPS takes us now from point A to D, when previously we would have stops from A, B, C, D and seen the completely different
reality.
But how does GPS take us to point from A to D without taking into A, B, C, D?
The highway system. You know, you optimize your traffic flow so that you don't actually have... You were talking about low-hanging fruit. You can never take a shortcut. But there is almost a shortcut that we can now have where we can use search features, or we can go from... to a knowledge system. Yeah.
So I guess we have to use whatever system or technology is available to us. And I know even 25 years ago, was it? Those days there was no GPS, but we had what was that thing? MapQuest, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then before that, you had AAA, where you had to pull out the map.
And before that, long those big maps, and we were spending half an hour,
Exactly. And so I see that as teachings almost, like,
Yeah, I guess it makes sense to take advantage of whatever technology offers you, and so yes, we see these changes in terms of efficiency, more effectiveness, and maps sometimes go east and west and north and south, and I would not know where is north and where is east. So yes, GPS has taken away so much of our anxiety and so much of our uncertainty. And
you're a dharmic GPS. Yeah. That's,
yeah, okay, all right. What is the best way to maintain Shraddha and kindness as a way of being when it feels like those around you at work and family, etc., are likely to disrespect you when you show kindness? Why should they disrespect you? For being kind or having Shraddha, you may not get adequate respect from people, meaning that they may not have value for the Shraddha and kindness. But for that they need not, I don't think they have to disrespect you, unless they see as sign of weakness. If your Shraddha and kindness is perceived as a weakness, so kindness cannot be perceived as weakness if it is true kindness. If kindness is forced, circumstances force you to be kind or etc., that is a different thing. But I do not think that genuine kindness would be perceived as a weakness. I don't think so. And so, understand, kindness is not the description of a behavior. What people see is how you behave or how you interact. That you are kind or not is a matter of, I guess, only inference. So people mostly respond to you based on how you interact and how you behave, rather than your kindness or Shraddha. So, it is not that you have to give up your kindness or Shraddha, but examine how you are interacting with people, whether that is inviting some disrespect or something. You follow what I am saying? It is a behavior that may invite respect or disrespect, not presence or absence. Presence of kindness cannot invite disrespect. Everybody respect kindness and Shraddha. It is genuine. But how it is expressed, we may have to perhaps look into the ways of how we express those things. About tamas and sleep, their relationship, on one hand, every night, one experiences deep sleep, which is considered closest brush with experiencing self or Atman. On the other hand, if you sleep a little extra or doze off, it is dubbed as tamasic. You see, sleeping at the right time and right place, everything is done at the right time and right place. There is a time to sleep and there is a place to sleep. Time to eat and a place to eat. There is a time and place for doing everything. If it's not done at the right time, right place, it will always invite whatever reaction from people. Not just sleep. Eat also. So, sitting here, you're drinking water, eating stuff like that, which is... So, anything inappropriate will invite people's attraction and perhaps dubbed as whatever they dub it as. But yes, if you doze off at a place which is not meant for dozing off, then they will call it tamasic. That is true. I think about free will, when Lord Krishna reveals Vishwarupa to Arjuna in chapter 11, he essentially shows him that all their fates are sealed and that Arjuna is just the chosen one to take credit. So this directly argues against the existence of free will because it is preordained and Lord Krishna is steering him towards the only real option, which is to fight. I think the point here in reference to Bhagavad Gita and showing the Vishwarupa is in response to the devotion of Arjuna. Arjuna is a devotee of the Lord, surrendered to the Lord, and therefore this is the result of Arjuna's Shraddha and Bhakti and surrender to Lord Krishna. Not that everybody who fights, that Lord wins, for them. This is a special case for Arjuna, understand? And it applies to anybody else also who possesses the kind of mind that Arjuna possesses in terms of the ultimate Shraddha and Bhakti. Because right in the beginning, Arjuna surrendered to Lord. Shishyasteham sadhimam tvam prapannam. I am your disciple, please teach me, I am surrendered to you. So if we have that Shraddha and surrender towards Ishvara, he will do that for us also. If we have extreme Shraddha and extreme surrender, then it's true that we have, so then we have surrender of free will also to the Lord. In that case, we should be ready to accept whatever Ishvara gives you. Then you cannot say, I surrender to you and what did you do for me? Then I expect Ishvara always, to do me favors or bring victory to me. No. Then you can't question him. And you have to accept gracefully whatever the outcome comes. So, this is the bhakti of Arjuna that is shown here, and the reward of bhakti. is not just free will or whatever, but then how Lord rewards his devotee when he has this love and surrender to Ishvara. And yes, if we have that complete surrender and love to Ishvara, then he will also reward. But then that itself is reward. What other reward do you want? That you have bhakti in your heart, in your Shraddha, what other reward do you want? Then you're all right, you're happy. So you don't, then there is no, a kind of a, what shall I say, a contract with the Ishvara that now I have bhakti and Shraddha, so you do something for me. Bhakta is someone who doesn't demand anything. What is meant by surrender is, it's your will. Because bhakta finds the fulfillment in surrender and bhakti, so it doesn't need anything extra for being fulfilled. How can I tell whether I am letting go of an expectation that is causing anger or stress, or am I escaping the duty? Example 1. Am I giving up my need or desire to please or gain approval of my parents, or am I escaping from my duty to my parents? Well, gaining approval of the parents, how does that involve escaping duty? Yes, you give up your need or desire, that is not escaping the duty. That is a good duty as a matter of fact. But why should it be that your parents are pleased when you give up your need or desire?
So I can provide context. So this is actually out of a conversation that we were having over food. There are times when it feels like what parents, basically like when a parent says, oh, I want you to do X, Y, Z for me, right? And if you don't do X, Y, Z, then you're not being a good child. Like you're not fulfilling your role as my child. I've given you all of these things, and you're not fulfilling your duty to me, right? And so in those situations, and I think I gave a second example as well, which is kind of, it's in the similar vein, but the question is, how can you tell the difference, whether you are, when you do X, Y, Z, or if you choose not to, if you choose I think it's right for me to not do X, Y, Z, right? How do you tell whether that's right, if that's what you feel is right, versus what your parents are saying, which is it is wrong actually for you to not do X, Y, Z. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so let us look at our own self. Why am I saying, okay, my parents want me to do certain things, and I don't want to do, or don't see the need to do, or, how honest I am in not doing. Is it because I don't care to do, I don't want to do, or it's not worth doing, it is not right to do? There can be various reasons why I do not want to do. Is it because my ego is hurt that I don't want to do? Or because I think what they are telling me is not right to do, therefore I don't want to do? Or I don't care to do? So we have to first examine our own mind and ask ourselves, why do I not want to do? Is it because, why should I do? And whatever, I don't know. So depends on the relation with parents, etc. It cannot be a general answer. Depends on your relation with anybody's relation with the parents and what kind of relationship that is. If the parents are frustrated with the child and say, why can't do this? Is that how they're insisting? Or the child feels that they're asking for an unreasonable thing? Or, why should I do? So, what is the kind of response in my own mind? That is, I should first look at that.
Yeah, I can maybe clarify more, which is like, I think it's typically in situations where the values that like we have, having grown up in this country, differ from the values that they in their generation have. So what we believe is right, for example, prejudice, right? Prejudice is against certain individuals, right? Like we have been taught like it's, you know, things are fine, and whereas there might be a difference in values just because of what we were taught, right? Like it's typically in those situations. Like I'm curious what your thoughts are on.
Well, if you are the right ground as far as values are concerned, you are not obliged to follow. At the same time, I guess we will have the courtesy to explain why it is that I think this way, and what's the reason why I think it's not right thing to do, or if you can offer some justification. Because you are right, there are a set of values coming from a different culture, and upbringing mainly is different. And we were all raised in a culture where reverence was a value. And reverence is no reverence, and reverence is not a value here. There's no such thing as reverence, So, now, that makes a lot of difference. When I have reverence for my parent, then the way I judge and evaluate what they say is is a different kind. And when I don't have reverence, and I think that I'm as equal to them, then my evaluation would be different. So it is true that our evaluation will change. It is right that because of reverence, I may do things that I may not necessarily do, because I revere them, therefore I'm happy when they are pleased. If that is not there, I don't care whether they're pleased or not, then I would do rather what I am pleased with. So this is a value with which we grew up, that this generation grew up, your parents and grandparents, etc., is this reverence, which is not in the Western culture. Because not that, this is how the freedom is understood here. The child also shakes hands with his grandfather or with his teacher, which is the culture. And I would not think of even talking in presence of my parents or my teacher, etc. I've never spoken in presence of Puja Swami, by the way, that I may be too timid or whatever it is, but then somehow that is how I was maybe raised. Not my parents were never strict or what it is, but somehow. So let alone talking back, that is out of question. But even, yes, if what is necessary I'll communicate, but otherwise I would hesitate even to talk in presence of elders, etc. That's culture, that's the upbringing. And I guess our parents, that generation, has been raised in that culture, with that mindset. All we can do is to be sympathetic to them and understand them. And perhaps that sympathy will help you to guide you as to how to conduct. Any other question? I know they may be all sleepy also at this time, because typically people go to bed at 9:30, isn't it?
Yes. Just to follow on from my previous question to you, Swamiji. So you said that there was a line between free will and destiny, and I was curious if you could just elaborate more on that.
As I said, that line is hard to determine. In any event, both are involved. In any happening, both free will and destiny are involved. Now, I'm saying what I'm saying. Is destiny making me say that? Or is my free will that totally makes me say that? It can be said my free will. But then, why, Swamiji, why did this thought occur to you? What I am saying is based on the thoughts that occur to me, and who brings those thoughts? But I don't have freedom to bring thought. So is it destiny that brings thought in my mind, which is how I speak this? So you can see the role of destiny also, and you can see the role of free will also, almost everywhere. And but we cannot say there is only destiny, because otherwise no change would happen. Meaning that we find that there is a freedom to do what I want to do, however you define that freedom. But we do accept freedom for human beings. And that's why freedom is a value in all constitutions, etc. But we know that we don't have total freedom. There is a set of laws which we have to follow. Even those who talk of freedom, they expect us to follow the basic laws, etc. So, what freedom of speech do I have? And where is the dividing line between freedom of speech and abusing the speech, etc., etc.? Anyway, these issues are going on, but we will accept free will as well as destiny, both, and everything is almost a result of influence of both of them. Which part is what may be difficult to determine.
And from like a Vedantic perspective, how do we think about like animals? Do we think animals have free will?
We think they don't.
Okay.
As best as we understand animals, they work on their instinct, they behave on their instinct. Because we don't find free will always bring about a change. Free will bring about a dissatisfaction, a change. And we find there is no change. They have not changed their dwelling, they have not changed their diet, they have not changed anything. So therefore we would say that they don't have free will. They are basically all instinct based. And Ishvara has put instinct in them. That's how they behave. This is as best as we understand.
I've heard a few times you mention the word emotional maturity. I was just curious, is it like, I'm sure it's a spectrum of, based on the circumstance in your life, of what degree of emotional maturity. I was just curious, the love between a man and a woman, like passion, love, is that emotionally immature?
No. I would say that when my conduct is determined by my impulsiveness is emotional immaturity. That is my anger that decides what I do, or jealousy, or any of those impulses. When they control my mind, I would think that is an emotionally immature mind. Whereas when my values of kindness and compassion, then I would consider it an emotionally mature mind.
So it's the mind that determines whether there is emotional maturity or not. If the emotion is greater than the control of the mind, then it's emotional immaturity. So it's really a mental, being in control of your thoughts and your mental aptitude is what determines the maturity.
No, it's you who are emotionally mature and immature. And mind is an instrument that you have. If a person is emotionally immature, then that gives opportunity, or for impulses, etc., to arise and control him. If a person is emotionally mature, then he has control over his emotions and mind, and therefore then his good qualities will have a chance to manifest. And that, yeah.
Namaste, Swamiji. So going back to the question of free will, how does, in chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita, verses 33 and 34, sadrishtam cheshtate swasyaha, and then indriyasi indriyasyarthe, how do they relate to destiny and free will? Is there any connection there? That's one question. And then the second question is, I wanted to take the example of the story of Parikshit, and it seems like he had the decision he made to put the snake around the rishi's neck. That seemed to be his free will, but the fact that he was supposed to be bitten by the snake, that was his destiny, and he couldn't do anything to prevent it. Is my understanding correct?
You can say that, generally speaking, that he put a snake around the neck of the sage, whether you would call it an impulse, but when you use your free will, usually your action will be right action. When you're using free will, then there is also, it's a deliberate action. And that's your deliberate. You can make a mistake, but it will be deliberate action when there is free will. But some kind of an impulse comes to you, I don't know, and then he puts snake around that. It's most strange, but it cannot be action of free will. He would not behave like that, generally. So some destiny made him do that, we would think. And that was responsible for all discourses on Bhagavatam. It became the very basis of, us getting this Srimad Bhagavatam and everything that is connected with that. So you can look upon that episode as as perhaps a cause for this.
And then the first question, Swamiji, about verses 33 and 34.
Sadusham chestate swasyaha prakrutehe jnanavanapi. What the verse says is that everybody is basically driven by the nature. So it is the nature that makes a person do what they do. Jnanavanapi, meaning even though you are a learned person, and still it is the nature that makes you do what you do. But the next verse it says, that means what is meant by nature, there is your raga and dvesha. And so Lord Krishna says that everybody has come with raga dvesha, tayornavashamagache tau yasya paripantino. May you not come under the sway of these raga dveshas because they are enemies. So first statement says that people usually are controlled by the raga dveshas. Second statement says that Arjuna, you should not come under their sway. So generally, yes, raga dveshas drive the people to do what they do, but a discriminating person doesn't come under the sway of raga dveshas.
And is that our free will at that point? Or?
Yes, that is so.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll conclude with a short bhajan. Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Raghurama. Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Raghurama. Sita Rama, Shri Raghurama. Sita Rama, Shri Raghurama. Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Raghurama. Sita Rama, Shri Raghurama. Pashupati Ranjan Pavan Rama. Pashupati Ranjan Pavan Rama. Papa Vimochan Tarak Nama. Papa Vimochan Tarak Nama. Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Raghurama. Sita Rama, Shri Raghurama. Pashupati Ranjan Pavan Rama. Papa Vimochan Tarak Nama. Jaya Jaya Rama, Jaya Raghurama. Rama Rama, Rama Rama. 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 Rama Rama, Rama Rama, 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 Rama Rama, Rama Rama. Ram 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 Ram. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavev Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amrutangamaya Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Tomorrow my class is at 11 o'clock and Muktatmananda's class at 9 o'clock. I think the schedule says differently, but then is the Swami know? Or we'll tell him? He knows, okay. So 9 o'clock Muktatmanji, 11 o'clock I'll take the class tomorrow. Okay.